Cool. So in this video, this is a treat. We're interviewing Daniel today. So we have done this structure of interviewing where we map out the journey for a few of our students who have hit, 15, 20, 30K a month, etc. But now what we want to do on this call is to interview Daniel and actually hear his story in a similar way, where we actually map out all the different milestones that have led from
Mhm.
him first getting into sales, high ticket sales, to, a few months ago hitting 100K a month, et cetera, et cetera. So let's jump in, Daniel. Let's see. The first kind of step you took in high ticket sales was in
Yeah.
September 2023. So what was this mentorship? Was this a setting mentorship or what did that look like?
So at this point, and obviously there's other videos where I talk about this, but I dropped out of university. My granddad passed away. And then it was around this time where I decided that I'm not gonna go back to university and I was gonna do something with making money online, whether it's my own business, sales, I don't know. And I came across an ad. I assume the algorithm just picked up that I wanted to do that. And it was for a program that taught you sales, copywriting, and how to run an agency. Like it was like free paths. I was watching that ad and I was like, fuck, I want to do sales because I've already done copywriting and done an agency before and it didn't work out for me. So I paid for the program. I watched the ad for like 2 minutes and I just paid. There was like $1,000, didn't have a call or anything. And then when I got into the program, it gives you a quiz and it basically says like, okay, what path are you best suited for? And I really wanted it to say sales because I hadn't tried it and I wanted to do sales, but I was going to listen to whatever it told me to do. So I did the quiz and it told me to be a copywriter. And I started doing copywriting for like a few weeks and I was like, fuck this, I want to do sales. So I just ignored the quiz and started doing sales. But yeah,
Also funny is a few months earlier, I was working at this company as a sales rep.
yeah,
So
yeah,
I was
exactly.
there, I think, February, and I had left just before September because I'd left like in the summer. So that's kind of
Yeah,
fun. But yeah.
yeah.
So that's the first mentorship. And then once you tried copywriting, you decided, no, I want to do sales. Let's see. Is this then the next step that happened? October 2023, you landed a DM setting role.
Yeah, exactly. So in the program, which I thought was like gold dust when I was first in there, but it's actually shit. They basically make you role play like for a month. Like they say like, oh, I'll do a role play a day or two role plays a day for a month, something like this. So I was once again just listening to whatever they're telling me to do and doing it. So yeah, from September to the end of October, I just trained, and then at the end of October, I got a cold DM saying roll in a Facebook group.
And you were making about 2K USD a month.
Yeah, which I was pretty impressed with. Like I was pretty happy with that at the time, and I was like, shit, this is real.
Because that's
And
probably more or the same you were making construction,
yeah.
yeah?
Yeah, it's roughly the same. Maybe a little bit less actually. I was just like, shit, I've actually like made this work. And at the time again, I was like, oh fuck, this role's actually pretty good. But it was like a horrible role. It's one of the roles where they like just throw you in a group and they're like, yeah, mate, like these leads, they know me, but they've just paid for this group. And they're like, yeah, just go and see who you can set for me. And they don't know anything about the owner. It's just like you being like, oh, do you run an e-com store? And then just doing like a discovery. But I was working a lot. So I was probably working like 13 hours a day to make 2K a month.
Let's go. And then you join another mentorship same month. So I
Yeah,
think this is pretty good, pretty cool. Like at this point, you didn't have a lot of money. You don't come from money, but you're
yeah.
already super willing to invest in your skill set.
Yeah, exactly. So the first program, I watched a two-minute ad, paid. The second one, some guy was like, "Yeah, I'm learning from this guy. He's really good. I just made 15K this month." And I was like, "Okay, cool." Put me in a group chat. Didn't have a call. I was like, "Yeah, mate, just send me a link for like a free pay or full pay." So I just joined.
And this one didn't really work out.
Yeah, I mean, I know some people that have got good results, but I really didn't resonate with the coach. So like maybe I took a learning from it, like to really try and be in alignment with the coach before I go work with them as a person.
Hmm.
And with him, I just didn't feel that. So then that's when I was like, I need another mentorship.
Yeah, I
And
think
they were preaching a lot of like, oh, it's all about the role, and I fucking hate that because I had like the mindset of like an athlete. Like I'm not trying to get on a good team and win a ring. I want to be like the best on the team.
hmm.
So that's another thing where I was like, these guys just don't really align with what I want to do.
And then I think this is an important point to expand on. So you joined this mentorship. I'm guessing it's like a few months of a mentorship,
Yeah.
but you already knew that that wasn't going to be what's going to take you to where you want to go. And so
Yeah.
you didn't have all these limiting beliefs that I see a lot in reps where they're like, oh, I just invested, so I can't do another mentorship. And it's like, that's a sunk cost fallacy. If you invest in a mentorship and it's not what you resonate with, it's not what you think is going to get you to that next step. And a side note, the way you would know that is like you're watching other sales trainers material. You're watching a video outside of your sales mentorship,
Yeah,
right?
exactly. Yeah.
So you just like less than 2 months later, then join a third mentorship. Same time you also landed a closer role.
Yeah, exactly. So I'd spoke to the coach of the third mentorship a bit in the DMs. which I think is a benefit of the second program because I didn't know about the Facebook space being big for sales. So like that sort of like allowed me to go into that world, and I started messaging everyone, like trying to fucking network, be weird. And then a few people were speaking about Bill, obviously the first coach, that my first good coach. I got in a group chat and he was basically like talking shit about this other coach, and I sort of resonated with it. So I was like, yeah, you're actually right. And he was like, yeah, mate, just tell him that you've had enough of the program and you want to like pause the payments. And I weren't going to do that. I messaged the coach. I was like, mate, I don't resonate with what's being taught here, and I don't see myself being successful working with you specifically. And there's another coach I want to work with. I'm happy to pay the rest, but just know I won't be coming to calls and learning from you because I want to learn from this other guy. So I was like willing to pay it off, but then that mentor was like, no, I don't want your money if you don't want to learn from me. So that was all right, and he just stopped my mentorship. And then I joined the other one. But at that point, to join that one, and because I burned like not burned, but because I invested like 3K ish up until that point, I had like £500 left, so which is
Mm.
like $700. So this is why I had to start getting super resourceful to join programs.
Is this where you sold some of your like belongings?
Yeah, so I sold them throughout December to March, but to join originally I had to sell my PC. So I
Yeah.
sold my PC for like £700, which is like $1,000, and that allowed me to pay the first installment to join.
Yeah. Real quick, while we're on this note, I think it's funny when people, sales reps, they know about objections, but then they'll say like they can't afford something. And if you ask like how many people have you asked for money? How many things around your house have you looked to sell? Like what
Yeah,
steps have you tangibly actually taken to become resourceful? It's almost always like nothing. Like they just think it's just going to randomly appear. So I think me, similar to you, it's like we recognized when there was an opportunity and we were willing to do what it took to get resourceful to make it happen, even if we didn't have the money at that time.
exactly. Yeah, I agree.
You also became a closer here.
Yeah, so around the end of that month, like maybe the 15th of December, some guy he brought me on. He had two offers, and I'm actually still friends with them. He had two offers. One of them was actually doing pretty good, and one of them was like crap. But he put me on the crap one because he liked my he role played me and he liked me. And I closed like two for two on the crap one that like no one's fucking closed a deal on for months. Um, so then he was like, "Oh, I'll just come to the good one." So technically, I landed two roles, but it was just like working with the same owner on two different offers.
And you're still around like 2K a month here, but now you're closing.
Exactly. Yeah.
And then December, so later that month, and then till March 2024, you landed Vshred, which is kind of the role that changed the game
Yeah.
for you.
Yeah. So from December like to March, my only focus was skill because that's what always talked about in the program I was in. So I was just like drilling every single day, like learning, role playing with like the best people in the group. I obviously had to sell things to make the installments for the mentorship as well. So I had to sell like my basketball shoes, jerseys, once again, just to keep up with the payments to stay in. After that, after doing all the skill work and role playing with people in the group, one of them then role played with me. He just made 15K and he was like, "You're better than me." And I was like, "Yeah, I know." And then he put me on and he was like, "I'll introduce you to the sales manager at Vshred." And then that's when I got into Vshred.
So yeah, I think also important note for the listeners, like up until this point, the way Daniel's landed roles is like take action, like hit up people on Facebook, role play with people. And like if you're someone who's like constantly putting energy out there, you're not being annoying, but you're like displaying that you're serious and that you have skill, like opportunities and doors are going to start to open. All right, cool. Then we kind of make a jump here. In April 2024, you hit your first 10K month. Also upgraded within the mentorship, so you invested in yourself again.
Yeah. And it's funny, I actually still couldn't pay for the installment to join the main one because the main one was like 16K or something. But because the coach seen like I was like really putting in the work, he was like, "Yeah, mate, I trust and believe you're gonna do well, so I'm gonna like let you get in for like $1,000 instead of like the 3K or something, and then you just owe me the money at the end." And I was like, "All right." So he kind of helped me out there because he believed in me, and then hit 10K that month. Went to Dublin. Obviously, we was both in Dublin together. I know we didn't speak, but yeah, a lot changed in April.
Yeah, and something else that Daniel was doing at this time, because obviously at this time I was working for this mentorship that Daniel was investing in. He was probably our like biggest marketing asset at the time, because
Yeah,
Daniel relentlessly was like posting his learnings and wins. So I think that's also an important point. Like, and I think it's something that later on allowed him to do really well very quickly with his coaching business, is because he has been building an audience because he was sharing what he was doing and posting and letting people know.
yeah, exactly. And it gave me a lot of confidence posting as well. I know
Yeah.
like it's a sort of a weird thing where like it can have the inverse effect if you're posting like crap results. But because I was posting good results and like everyone was like pumping me up, it just gave me like even more
Mhm.
fucking like certainty.
And then Any main takeaways in this time where you really like stepped into a different version? Because I'm pretty sure you mentioned like this is kind of when you're like, all right, I can get to a whole new level.
Yeah, so it was a few things. First of all, I think it was actually the 31st of March, which is my birthday. The 20th, oh, it was my 20th birthday. I had a no, a 2.2K comms day because I sat in my room and took calls all day. And I went like fucking 7 for 7 or some shit, 6 for 7. So that was a good moment. And I was actually struggling on Vshred the first few days in March. Um, like the first 5 days, I closed like 2 deals. And then some guy on my team was like, mate, you're the best person on this team. Like, look at these idiots at the top making all this money. You're way better than them. Because he'd role played with me and stuff. And then that's like when it flipped a big switch in my head. I was like, yeah, I'm fucking way better than these retards who are making 40K a month. And then I just started like fucking popping off, to be honest with you.
Mm,
Um,
yeah.
but going to Dublin, like a lot of people was going to parties and shit with each other, eating at restaurants. Once again, like I only went to the event and like went to learn, went to my room and still was selling. So that was another thing where I was like, oh, I'm doing things other people aren't doing. Like they think they can take time off just because it's an event. I'm not going to do that.
Mm,
And then the biggest one at the event was just how I felt in the room. So like there was people in there who were making like 20K a month and like everyone was like going to talk to them like they're like the best. And that didn't annoy me, but I was just like the next time I step in one of these rooms, I don't want to be like someone who's just, just looked past, you know?
that's sick. Yeah, I think there's a few things there. One is the self-image part where like I know you've always had the internal belief, but like someone else just telling you like, bro, you're the best on this team. Like, what are you
Yeah.
doing? I think
Yeah.
that's why whenever I see, Daniel does the same, like whenever we see potential, like we explicitly tell the people because sometimes you just need like one more external bit of evidence to like really
Yeah.
like just like allow that to expand to what your internal belief already is. So that's super
Yeah.
cool. And then what was I gonna say about the other thing? Oh yeah, bro, it's funny because in Dublin, outside of the event, and I was like half host, like helping host it, right? I was
Yeah.
working. So me and at the time Jacob, bro, we didn't go to the bars. Like even when we went to the Conor McGregor bar, we left early and we came back and we
Yeah.
just worked because
Yeah.
like
Yeah.
similar thing, we were just like, bro, what are we doing? Like we're making like at that point we were making like I don't know, like 15K or something a month. And it was just like this isn't enough. Like we can't just take the foot off the gas. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Yeah.
So that's
Yeah.
cool to
Exactly.
think that me and you didn't talk at the event, but we were both doing the same shit. Like we were both just like grinding outside of the event hours.
Yeah. Yeah. Exactly.
So good
Good
stuff.
stuff.
So let's see. You upgraded the mentorship, which we talked about, and then this is kind of where we start going up and up.
Yeah.
May 2024, 14K USD month, and again invested.
Yeah.
Same
So
mentorship.
same mentorship, but it was one-on-ones with one of the coaches because he had been on the offer I was on and he'd made like 30, 40K a month there. So I was like, I'm gonna just pay him for one-on-ones.
So yeah, up until this point, one, two, three, four, five.
Yeah.
So I think that's super important though, because
Yeah.
like some people are like, I want to make 10K before I invest in a mentorship, and like you literally by like 15K had five, have like
Tech, yeah. I mean, if we look at it, it was like 27K is what I would have spent. Obviously, like I was on payment plans, but I'd spent 27K, like committed to spending that amount up
yeah,
until this point. And for me to make, what's that? 2, 4, 6, 9, 19. For me to make 33K, I invested 27K
yeah.
like over the 5, 6 months.
Yeah. What was your like belief around investing that made you want to? Because I had the same one. Like what made you want to invest even before you were like really earning much?
I think I just valued like winning and knowledge to a higher degree than I did like financial safety. Like I felt more unsafe not trying to get ahead of everyone else.
I don't know if you felt this, but I thought like one of the things that's going to make me successful is my willingness to out invest my competitors.
Yeah.
Like I used to
Never
think
really
like
crossed my mind, but yeah.
I used to be like I know that I'll risk it all if I think it's going to help me, where like other people wouldn't.
Yeah, yeah. Me and Clinton speak about this, but I think the best salespeople will like pay so much money just for like the small, like like one small golden nugget. It's funny.
Yeah.
Like we'll never regret the purchase either because we'll find something that made it worth it.
Yeah. All right, let's see. June 2024, you then hit 20K USD. And this is when
Yeah,
you jump the leaderboard and become second out of like 150 plus reps.
exactly. Yeah. So that was a good month. That's when I still was on like unqualified leads. I actually remember that month clearly because I weren't getting a lot of bookings because I was new to the qualified calendar, which is like people who had money and they knew it was a sales call. Other people didn't know it was a sales call, but I weren't getting any bookings. So around 4 days into the month, 5 days in the month, like maybe a week, I was like, fuck this. I'd rather have like unqualified leads and a full calendar than like just fucking taking 3 or 4 qualified calls a day because it was pissing me off.
Mm.
So I went back on the main calendar and I ended up like beating the other people who were on the main calendar besides one girl.
This is important too because even how the team that Daniel and I manage, like we ramp up closers through an unqualified calendar so they're getting reps. And then
Yeah,
Daniel and I will hear people ask us questions like, what do you do so you don't waste times on calls? And it's like
yeah,
if you're not making like consistent 20, 30K a month, like you need the reps.
yeah,
So like you gotta
exactly,
stop worrying about like, is my call qualified or not? And be like, how many calls period can I get per day so I can get my skill to a level where I can make more money?
exactly. Yeah, yeah,
All right, sick. Then we go a bit down here, 12K.
yeah. I think July I made like 17, and then August is when I moved to Brazil. So
Took some time off.
I went there with my best friend who does ecom, does very well, and we originally went there just like, oh, we're gonna go there for a month, but I bought a one-way ticket with the intention of potentially staying if I liked it. So went there, chilled out with him. I maybe worked like 3 or 4 hours a day at this point. I was still studying a lot actually. This is something I was still doing a lot. I was still studying like 4 hours a day when I was just like chilling out in the evenings. But I was only working and taking calls for 4 hours a day as well. But then I made 12K make it working like 4 hours a day, 5 days a week.
Yeah, and I remember when I was working for this mentorship that Daniel was in, and they posted when he was in Brazil, and they're like, something like Daniel's on vacation, barely working, and still making more than most of the closers here.
Yeah.
Thought that
Yeah,
awesome.
exactly. But
And
yeah,
then
this was a big moment as well though, like the environment shift. Because I think that's a big factor in this going up right now as well. Because even though it felt like I was doing like similar things, me being in Brazil on my own, not around, I fucking love my family, but not around my family and just like sort of locking in, I think that's also like a big moment. So when I moved to Brazil, like even though I took time for a holiday, like me committing to staying there because I felt different there, was a big influence on what's about to happen.
yeah, we just interviewed one of our students, Chandler, who hit like 13 and a bit K in commissions last month, and he had a similar thing where he moved to Mexico. And it's something about where you change your environment, change your conditions that allows you to like, yeah, just kind of be more of who you want to be, not have any external influence. And
Yeah,
that usually leads to a big jump in performance. So that's cool.
exactly.
So yeah,
Yeah.
then we start going up and up. So another mentorship. So this is now the like technically like sixth time you've invested in yourself up until this point.
Yep.
And something to
Oh,
keep in mind just for the listeners though is like this was all one mentorship, so it's not like he was like Daniel
open.
wasn't like mix matching. He was just
Yeah.
going super deep into one mentor.
Yeah.
And then this is the first time where you're like, all right, now that I'm making like 20, 30K a month, let me start like expanding my toolbox.
Yeah, exactly. And I actually kept the same tracks, ideologies as the first mentor, but I started taking stuff from the other people to just like tighten the leaks that I was seeing in the process.
Mm.
That was cool. And one thing I want to add as well is in December 2023, you can see I post on Instagram, no, Facebook, and I said I want to make 25K a month by the end of 2024. So that was my original goal coming into the year. And then when I got to March, when I was still at 3K a month, I rethought my goals and I was like, nah, fuck that. I don't want to make 25K. Like this guy just made 50K. So I was like, I want to make 40K a month. So I put that on my whiteboard. And then by the end of the year, obviously I hit 45. So I
Mm.
think that was a big thing as well, just like changing my goal to something bigger.
Yeah, we've also seen that with some of our other students we've interviewed. It's like when you set a bigger goal, the other goals become like more reasonable feeling. Like not
Yeah,
that you thought they weren't, but it just probably like subconsciously was like, oh, if 45K is the goal, then like 35 is easy.
exactly. Yeah.
All right, cool. And then 35, 38, 45, and each month here, October, November, December, you do another mentorship. So this is like six, seven, eight mentorships
Yeah.
total.
Oh, this is another important point. And this is all one-on-ones. And I fucking hate when people who are making less than like 20K, 15K, they're like, I'm not investing in yours because it's a group and I want one-on-ones. It's
Yeah.
like, you're not even ready for one-on-ones yet. You don't know the foundations. Like one-on-ones is for like fine-tuning very, very minute details.
Yeah.
I didn't start investing in one-on-ones until I made, what, 14K. That was the first one-on-one mentorship I did.
Yeah, it's true. On my objection coaching call, I do like if someone hasn't gone through the content and learned like the principles, it's like, no, you can't role play because like I'm just gonna tell you everything you could just go learn yourself, right?
Yeah,
Like
exactly.
the value in like one-on-one and coaching is when you've really maxed out self-learning and you just want to get like Daniel's saying, like those 1 to 5% tweaks.
Yeah, exactly.
Okay, cool. Anything else about these 3 months? I mean, you finished the month, you hit your goal.
Yeah.
This is where you basically start thinking like, I want to start coaching,
Yeah.
managing, things like this.
What I would say is if we go to the start of the journey, like I think that between September to April, obviously that was skill. No, but between September to December was skill mainly, and then April was basically offer, even though I got on it like the 28th of March. It's basically April. I'd obviously done a lot of state work before. Like I accredit my basketball success and football success and things like this to like my mindset.
Mm.
But once I had the skill and the offer, so like skill and then offer in April, everything I'd done from May onwards was state work. Like I didn't really remember like questioning my skill. Like even those mentors I worked with, I was mainly going to them to teach me like the way they think and their mindset and their beliefs. So I would say that after I had the skill and the offer, I put like a heavy emphasis on like becoming obsessed with like having a good state of mind. And
Yeah.
then that's I think the biggest one of the biggest reasons why it just kept going up.
Yeah, and this I probably say that this is like we talked with another student we interviewed, Lucky, who did 25K last month, and he called this more like state part two because like as you mentioned, you had a good foundational state because you were an athlete, you had good beliefs,
Yeah.
etc. But then you added on that next level. So obviously in
Yeah.
Born to Close we teach both because some people don't have that foundational one.
Yeah.
But this is like that next level of state work you did. Let's see, January 2025, you officially started Born to Close and the income's
Yeah.
still going up. So you do around 50K this month.
Yeah, exactly. So I stopped closing, I guess you could say, even though I'm still closing a bit now. And obviously I closed for the offer itself. But then I started just born to close and I made 50K the first month we launched that. And that was all DM closes as well. I didn't do sales calls.
Right around here is when you did a bit of like the fitness sales as well, yeah? Right
Yeah.
before Born
So
to Close.
yeah. So like start of November-ish. It's when I started doing something called FSA, which is Fitness Sales Accelerator. And I just took like little boot camps of people and started teaching them fitness sales.
Mm.
And that's what really opened my eyes to having my own offer. And like that could get results as well. Like I really knew what I was talking about.
And something that I think is cool that Daniel and I do is we want our students, if they want to start coaching, to be coaches. Like, because we
Yeah.
know that there's a lot of leverage in it. And if you've been able to make, 15, 20, 30K yourself, then you can definitely teach a newbie how to get to 5, 10K, right?
Yeah.
And so, yeah, that I think that's super cool that in addition to like obviously Daniel learning that, this is something that we're actively now helping a few of our students get into is like start the coaching aspect so they can eventually either manage or start their own offer.
Exactly. Yeah.
All right, cool. Then you and I start working around February.
It's
And
good.
the business is growing. We're also working
Yeah.
with Reese as well. And then March is when we hit the first 100K month. So
Yeah.
so basically March 2025. So you're like second or you're like third full month of coaching, you hit your first 100K month,
Yeah.
which is cool.
Yeah. And like you said earlier, like that was, in my opinion, only possible because of like how consistent I was with like posting results, how consistent I was making money
Yeah.
leading up to the point of launching my offer because I'd like stacked a pond of people who wanted to learn from me. And then once
Yeah.
I fucking said, oh, here's the pond, they just wanted me to fucking pull them out and teach them. So it was good.
Yeah, I think it's super true because I've, done some growth operating with clients starting from zero. And if you literally start from zero and you just start posting content, the chances that you can post content, get an audience and sell them right away is like very rare. And so
Yeah.
like Daniel basically had like a year plus of like building an audience and showing that, stacking proof that he could do what he said he was doing. And then
Yeah.
that's when people, started working with him.
Exactly.
So yeah, as you can see, it's obviously what we hammer and Born to Close is state, skill, offer. And when you align all three of those, that's when you really start to get the results. Obviously, Daniel had like big numbers in a very short period of time. And I think that's because it's probably for a few things, but you definitely just like invested and really went for it. Like as we can see, like eight
Yeah.
mentorships by the time you got to here.
Yeah, exactly. I think by the time I got to the end of the year, like I don't know how much I made, I didn't add it up, but I invested 100K for sure.
Yeah.
I remember in December when I invested that in that one-on-one coach, I remember like posting that I've finally invested 100K.
And let's see, anything else about your journey we mapped out here that you think you would want to share for like people listening?
I think I think there's actually it's not easy, but when you pick a direction and just go and start walking in it and you're like fully committed and you're like, I'm gonna get to that point really fast. I'm gonna get it faster than other people. I don't really care about my age. I don't care that they've been in sales longer than me. Like if you just get rid of all these like factors that people let them hold themselves back with and you just decide, like it's very easy to get there.
Mm,
So with me, like I never like idolized anyone in the space. Like, I've respected people, but I was like, if he's doing it, I can do it. Like
mm.
from the jump.
Yeah, I think that's huge. I think that goes back to like that self-image thing and that like I think people cap themselves with their like subconscious self-image, what they think they deserve to get and
Yeah.
how good they are relative to other people.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's like once you kind of get that part down, which I would put under the state work, it's like the skill and offer is pretty straightforward.
Yeah. Exactly.
Yeah, and then I guess we can talk a bit about what's next. Obviously, since March, we've been growing Born to Close and
Yeah.
now as well Born to Scale. So we have like a really good synergistic setup where Daniel and I obviously coach sales reps, and then we can place them in the companies that we are managing and that we're going to manage in the future.
Yeah.
So for example, just last month, the two top reps at the company we manage are inborn to close. One's a coach, and they both did over 10K. One did 25K. So that's super
Yeah.
cool as well that we're building that machine as well.
Yeah, I agree. Yeah, so obviously we're doing that. We're staying in the sales realm, helping way more people and teaching everything that I'm sure we're going to do one of these for you as well. But
Mm.
teaching everyone that we've learned teaching everyone what we've learned on our journey, which is obviously credible. It's not like you can see by the trajectory of that, it's not fluke. Like it doesn't happen by that for fun. Like that's the way it went because we learned something, we made key decisions, we did certain steps, you become a certain person. So like you can cut that time in half and the investment by like 95% for obviously learning from us. Because
Yeah.
if I've invested 200K at this point, you've invested like 150, 100K plus as well. You're getting $350,000 worth of knowledge from people who actually utilize the knowledge they've got and got great results for
Yeah.
like a small investment.
Yeah.
And the hours we put in, which is priceless.
Yeah, that's why we're now our students like we can give them the state skill and offer, and it's obviously something you always work on, but we can give them the juice of it within their first like 1 to 3 months.
Yeah,
Because
exactly.
that's why like Lockie hit 25K his third month in as a closer. Chandler hit 10K his second month. Like we have a bunch of those
Yeah,
students who are like as soon as they get in, because we've dialed in the system based on our experience in investing and like refining the high ticket sales journey, it's like you can
yeah,
get those results so much quicker than Dan and I got them.
good bucket.
I think Lockie might make a run for your money, bro.
I think so as well.
Yeah.
Yeah,
But
I
yeah,
agree.
that's good. That's kind of the whole point. Like going back to what we said earlier, like this isn't saying like Dan and I are so good. It's just like why would you not want to be coached by people who want you to do better than they did and
Yeah,
then, help you with that next step as well.
yeah,
But
good
yeah,
shit.
good stuff. And then what's next is basically growing born to close, born to scale. Keep
Exactly.
hiring our reps. We're gonna have a bunch of opportunities for our reps, and they're gonna be coached by us double. So that's what's
Exactly.
next for 2026.
Yeah, events coming up, more people
Brazil.
making more money. Yeah, the Brazil event. So it's a good time to get in with the crowd, and
Mhm.
get good results and change your life. So if you're interested in that, you can obviously subscribe, see some other sales content, drop a
Yep.
follow on Instagram, probably a book a call link below if you want to talk a bit more in depth about it. But yeah, anyone can do what we've just showed, to be
Yep.
honest.
And we've also mapped out, as I mentioned a few times in this call, like we've mapped out a bunch of all our students' journeys. So check out those videos as well. Just like this, we mapped them out. And then
Yeah.
yeah, as Dan said, just hit us up and we can talk about, you joining Born to Close as well. All right,
Cool.
sweet.